Hey everybody, thanks again for joining us on these Passion and Purpose podcasts. We've done hundreds of them over the last 6 years. But in these next few weeks, we are going to lean in to what it means to glorify God in every sphere of society. We're going to hear incredible stories. I mean, blow away stories of people in business, in healthcare, in government, construction workers, students in their classrooms, impacting lives with the glory of God by being full-on witnesses wherever they go. Actually, these next batch of podcasts are for every common person on the planet. So join us, bring your friends in. It's going to be a time to not only hear great stories, but to be activated ourselves to change the world so the glory of God is seen in every sphere of society until we see His kingdom come and His will be done. Welcome everybody again to Passion and Purpose. This is just such a joy for me to sit down with friends because I get the privilege of talking with friends. And one of Laura's and my longest term friends here in the Antioch movement and in the journey together are Greg and Lindsay McEachern. And we're going to get the privilege of hearing their story today. So welcome guys. Glad y'all are here.
Thank you.
And alrighty, so we always need to know the story behind the story. And of course, begins with our own journey. So give us a little background, your own faith journey, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I grew up in the church, a local church here.
Literally down the street.
Yep, Reverend Freeman was my pastor.
Wow.
And my journey of coming to faith was, I grew up in a denomination where there was like a confirmation class, and you know, at the end of that was baptism. And I saw in fourth grade my best friend get baptized, and I went to my mom and I was like, "Can I follow Jesus? Do I have to wait for this class?" And so she brought me up, and I met with Reverend Freeman, and he shared the gospel with me, asked me if I was ready to accept him as my Savior. I said yes, and literally the next week, my best friend growing up got baptized one week. I got baptized the next week.
That's awesome.
In front of the church. And so that was the beginning. And I would say that, you know, I was the kid that in Sunday school knew all the answers. I'd memorized all the Bible stories.
I believe that, actually.
You know, I've got people that tell me that today. And I think what it was for me was there was a lot of head knowledge.
Yeah.
And so when I first had my first trial, it really kind of rocked my world. I actually experienced loss at a young age. My good friend died when I was in high school, and I didn't have a place to put that.
Right.
And so it caused this journey of rebellion until I got to Baylor, when I met what I would call the other agnostic on campus. And through this friendship, they asked me, they had some experience, and they asked me, you know, what do these people believe?
Wow.
Well, I was the guy that had all the Sunday school answers,
Right.
and so I told this friend the gospel. And a week or two later, they called me back and they said, "Hey, you know what? What they believe, I believe."
Wow.
And that moment was probably the first time I would say I felt like I heard the voice of God, and I heard God say, "Greg, this is what I created you for."
Wow. Okay.
And so that was my introduction to Jesus.
Right. So really your freshman year is when you kind of put the pieces together, actually helping somebody else
Right.
try to put the pieces together.
Not even knowing what I was doing.
I love that. You know, I always say that every time I share the gospel, I actually believe the gospel again.
Yeah.
Especially when I see how people respond to it.
Yeah.
So Jesus always tricks us. He tells us to share the gospel so that we believe the gospel.
Right.
Amazing. And you're a perfect example.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Lindsay, how about you?
My story's a little different. I would say I didn't grow up in the church, but around people of faith. And my mom's parents loved Jesus so deeply and really modeled what it looked like to walk with God. But they didn't live real close to us, so it was just snippets. But their prayers were very faithful. And so when I was around 9 or 10, I went to a Disciple Now weekend. And it's the first time.
Good Baptist core right there.
It was the first time I remember hearing or understanding salvation. And I can remember exactly where I was when I prayed to receive Jesus into my heart. And it was very real. And it was I understood salvation, but that was it. And then I didn't have anybody, no mentor, no guide really to put any pieces together. So just kind of plodded along.
So how old were you at that time?
9 or 10.
9 or 10, okay.
And so just, kept going along through middle school and high school, knowing that God and Jesus were like the way, but I couldn't figure out how to connect the dots, of like how to live it out, basically.
Right, sure.
And so my dad had gone to Baylor Law School. I wanted to be like him. And so I came to Baylor in the fall of 99 and got, met some girls, and they were going to a church called Antioch. And I was like, well, I'll go along with you. And so one Sunday it was at the convention center. Yeah. And I have to admit, I don't remember what you preached on.
Hey, you know what? I don't either, so that's fair.
It was at the end, there was a ministry time, and I can remember what I was wearing, like where I was sitting, and the presence of God just overcame me. And it was as if my eyes were opened for the first time, where it made sense, like that, oh, God is with me and he's been with me. And in a moment, it was like I kind of went through like a timeline of my life and like challenging things and sin habits and other things that I had been a part of, and I saw where God was with me, and it just totally rocked my world. Wow. And so it became this journey of God becoming Lord. So salvation and understanding God as my Savior as a child, and having a continued hunger, but it wasn't until I was 18 that I understood him as Lord. And then being a part of the Antioch community and life group and journeying on in, discipleship and developing and growing into the woman God made me to be.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I often think about that phrase that people say. People remember not necessarily what you say, but how you made them feel. Right? And we're not talking about feelings being central to our faith, but what we are saying is that God's real. And when you're with people that actually believe he's real, then somehow you begin to feel yourself like, hey, this is a real relationship and not just a intellectual journey. And I'd say probably the same thing happened for you, Greg. Yeah.
So I got to Antioch. So I had that experience my freshman year, and then I went through this journey of like trying to figure out who God is. I became a religion major, went down that knowledge path.
That'll help you.
Sometimes
for another day. Keep going. Yeah.
I remember I wanted more of God.
Sincere.
It wasn't like the knowledge wasn't doing it. And so I went back to a friend actually at the church I grew up at, and I was like, man, this is what I'm looking for. And he said, he was on staff at that church, and he said if I could go to any church in town, I'd go to Antioch.
Wow.
And I said, okay, I'll go there.
Wow.
And so I walked in. This was 2003. I walked into the old sanctuary, sat on the back row, and the person in front of me was my 5th grade Sunday school teacher.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And meet and greet time, Larry turns around and it's like, hey Greg, why don't you come sit with us? And during worship, he turns to me and he goes, hey, I was just praying for you. I feel like God said you're dealing with this, and this, and he wants to set you free. And I was like, what is it? What's going on here? And so
was it true? Was he?
100%.
Yes, he was 100% on.
And so I go home. I'm in summer school at the time. I go to summer school. I sit next to Alina Wen now.
Oh, yes, of course.
And I'm like, I went to this church, and it was great. And she goes, well, I'm a life group leader. Come to my life group. Go to life group that night. And in the middle of worship, Luke Whiting walks across the room, never seen this guy before, and says, hey, man, I was just praying for you. I felt like God said you're dealing with this, and this, wants to set you free. And I'm like, are they like passing around a card? Like when the tall guy walks in, like say this.
the tall guy from Waco.
Yeah. And so I came back one more time, go to, there's a ministry time in this Sunday morning service, go to the front, somebody else says it again.
Wow.
And I remember going home and talking to my mom, and I said, I don't know what's going on, but that's my church, and I'm going to be there until I figure it out.
Wow. So that was 22 years ago.
Right.
Right. The two people you just mentioned are still with us.
Yep.
One works overseas. One serves faithfully here locally. So super cool. So you guys, again, we could talk all day probably about college and the different things that God did in and through your lives, as well as friends and the beautiful things that happen. But of course, a part of what we do is we always ask people to wait on God. Is he sending you somewhere? And again, it could be to Waco, Texas. Just make sure you're a sent one.
Right.
That you truly are asking God and letting him lead you. So where did God, well, first of all, how did you guys get together? And then where did he send you?
Right. So we met in the training school.
Okay.
We'd both been at Baylor at the same time, never met. And so for me, my degree is in entrepreneurship. So I was studying in the business school and learning about entrepreneurship, simultaneously learning more about missions and church planning. And I went on a mission trip to England, and it was on that trip that I felt like God said, I've called you to this place and to these people. And I was like, okay, well, how? And so I went home, and that following year spent time praying and trying to figure out, is this in business? Is this like, what avenue? And it became very clear that it was through church planning, because entrepreneurship and this entrepreneurship process is the same thing as church planning.
Absolutely.
And
Lindsay,
captivated
you
me. You have this concept of an idea, and you birth it, and then you build it, and then you have an exit strategy. And I was like, this is the same thing. And it was so sweet to me. And so I went to the training school knowing that I was moving to England, joining the Sheffield, England church plant.
Okay.
And
so then you guys meet in the training school.
So
obviously.
we met. We followed the rules. I did not ask her out until an hour after the graduation lunch.
Great, way to go. Way to be patient. An hour after, right?
Yeah, so we talked about what do we share here, and this was kind of a cool story when we were dating.
Yeah.
So in the training school, God was doing this work in my heart. Told me to give everything back to my parents, and I lived at Mercy House as the intern.
Monitor
walked the streets of Waco, didn't have a car, and so I asked this girl out, and it hits me. I was like, I probably need a car to take her out on a date. And so I call in a favor from my dad. He calls a local car dealership, and they say, okay, the next decent car we get, we'll sell to you for whatever we get it on the trade-in. And so I get a call. They said, we've got a car. And so I walk the 2 hours to the car dealership.
Are you serious?
To go test drive it. And on the walk over there, I'm praying, is this my car? And I felt really clearly God said, this isn't your car. Okay. Well, so I'm like, Dad called in a favor. So I go in, I drive the car. It's a good car. I call Lindsay. I'm like, hey, new girlfriend, come drive this car with me. So she comes out, drives the car. We're literally pulling out of the parking lot. And she said, did you pray about it? And I said, yeah, God said it's not my car. And she said, get me out of this car. I don't want to be in this car.
Lindsay, way to go. Give me a little bit for that. Way to go.
So we turn around and go back. I hand the guy the keys, tell him, hey, it's not the right car. He's not happy. Call my dad. He's not happy. The next morning, I get a phone call from my dad. And he goes, you won't believe what happened. And I said, what? He said, Diane, my stepmom, he said, she got home from work and her assistant, her car gave out. And she came home. She's like, I really want to help this lady, but I don't know where a good car is. And my dad goes, I know where a good car is.
Wow. It was for somebody else.
So they went up and they bought that car, gave it to the assistant, and they were like, I'm so glad you didn't take that car because it was somebody else's car.
Thank you, Lord. Way to go. Way to go. Did you eventually get a car, by the way?
I ended up getting the car that I wanted.
Oh, okay. There it is.
It was a 16-year-old 4Runner with 80,000 miles.
Hey,
but
what everybody wants.
With red interior.
With red interior.
Perfect.
But in that time, so she was going to England. I was at Mercy House. And so I started praying. And I knew pretty early on that we were going to get married. So this may sound weird.
Lindsay, did you know early on y'all were going to get married?
No, I mean, I feel like God...
You grew into it.
I mean, our relationship was fast. I mean, we didn't date very long.
Greg doesn't do anything slow.
No.
So
we've learned that about both of us.
Yeah.
But no, I was very confident that it would be Greg. He he knew earlier.
Yeah.
Of course.
You know.
So when we're praying, I felt like God said, if you'll honor your wife's calling, I'll honor it as your own.
Wow.
And
That's
so,
beautiful.
so she moves to England, and I go to leadership and said, hey, if we get married, can I join the England team? And everybody said, yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I lived in England for 3 months. He flew over with a ring and a plane ticket. We came home and got married 3 months later.
Way to go.
We raised support and we're out the door. So
3 months after that?
3 months after that.
Man,
And
way to go.
Started living in Sheffield, working alongside one another. We worked with young adults and helped start a variety of things. I mean, whatever needed doing.
Yeah, and just by the way, I want to say you guys did fabulous because church planting is not easy, by the way. Like entrepreneurship. It's not as easy as you think. And that church is still flourishing today.
Yeah.
They're doing so well. I'm so proud of them. Like, it's a beautiful
Celebrated
church.
20 years.
It's a
this
beautiful
summer.
church in Sheffield, England, and you guys were part of starting something that lasts.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about transition from England to back to Waco.
Yep.
And jump into kind of where God's been leading you guys.
Yeah, so we came back, felt like God told us to come back, join the family business.
Yep.
And candidly, I thought, young, zealous, 26-year-old, I'm going to join the family business and I'm going to teach the family business how to be a Christian business.
There you go.
Little did I know that it was already happening.
Wow.
And I remember I get called into my dad's office one day, and he said, I just want you to sit there. I want you to see what we do. And this guy walks in, and he has a cancer diagnosis. And my dad had done all the research and found the best doctor in the world. And he said, all right, you've got a choice. You can get treated here, or you can get treated by the best doctor in the world. This is the cost difference. I'll cover the difference. You just decide,
Wow.
treated at home or treated by the best, whatever you want to do. And the guy chose the best. And that began this journey of me learning that our family had used business as a place of blessing, really for our employees.
Sure.
And I went from, I'm going to teach somebody something, to I'm going to learn.
Way to go.
Learn how to do this. So
Cool.
I did that, was in the family business for 7 years. Then I bought the family business. And I decided, we'd been doing these things in private, don't let the right hand know what the left hand's doing.
Right.
And I was like, well, how do we make this a culture thing?
Right.
And so I looped in our executive team and I said, hey, you guys know, this is what my dad did. We're going to do this as a company. So it's no longer going to be a McCann thing. It's going to be our company. This is what we do.
Right.
And so we started making decisions of how can we step in and help people. And so we had the opportunity, this lady, her son had an accident, was in a coma, and we got together and we said, all right, her new job is to sit at the hospital.
Wow.
That's the job description. Let's write it up. This lady, her job description, sit at the hospital. And we went to the team and we said, so-and-so is going to sit in the hospital. You guys, sorry, you've got more work now, because she's on a different project.
There you go, man.
And we did that over and over and over again. But it was great because we built this team. Some of them recruited from in these four walls
Yes,
in the
of
congregation.
course. Yes.
And we said, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make business be a place where we care for and bless people. We're going to use the resources of the business to be a blessing, and unapologetically.
Sure. I want to pause here because, again, what we're doing these podcasts, we're calling it Revival and Reformation. And revival by nature, God awakens my heart to himself and to his purposes. And then we become reformers. But so many times when we think Reformation, we think like the Reformation or like William Wilberforce in slavery. And all these are huge Reformation moves. But really, Reformation is on a very personal level, people on people for the glory of God, or a business taking seriously the Great Commission, or caring for your neighbor. I mean, this is really, it's 1,000 acts of kindness that actually create reformation for families, not the big stuff. It's just the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
So, All right, so in your business, you're saying, all right, we're going to live this out. And so, Lindsay, you're an intercessor. I know that. You rejoice with people. You've got a hospitality gift. So how are you kind of taking the ride with this?
It's a great question. I am so thankful that Greg has always, I don't want to say allowed isn't the right word, but invited me in to participate. And so we would talk at home a lot about the relational dynamics or the different relationship issues. I mean, so much in management and owning a business or anything, you're dealing with people, you know? And so we would dialogue about different things and hopes and dreams. And
Laura and I have always seen you guys as a team. And I say this with tears, because what I know about Greg is he always wants your input. It's not like it's because he's trying to be a great husband who is just patronizing you. He values your input, your discernment, your people skills. And so to run a family business, you have to have a healthy family. And you guys doing a life together, I know that you've been brought into every one of these scenarios. I know that a lot of Greg's decisions that he made were because of your input and your counsel. Absolutely. And I know that. I've known practically, but I know that's the nature of the way that you guys roll. And that's a beautiful thing, because I know that part of your life's mission is to redeem family. And you guys do that so well together. And though your role was raising the kiddos and kind of doing the whole deal that takes literally your whole life if you raise kids well, that was your day job, but your night job was to actually listen to Greg, which could be a full-time job at times. And that's
Counselor,
a beautiful thing.
consultant.
That's right. Yes. And that's a beautiful thing. And I just want to acknowledge that.
Yes.
Because when we talk about revival and reformation of family, and especially when we're talking about family business, it's a partnership or it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And y'all's partnership is beautiful.
Thank you. I mean, I love how we said that earlier. Like, he's always invited me in. He's always valued my input. He's desired it. He's wanted it to be something. He's always wanted it to be an us thing, you know, from the very beginning, which is what's so fun about the foundation and what we're building right now, is that it very much is the heartbeat of both of us.
Yes.
And where that burden and was birthed from, you know, was our story together from the beginning of our time in England.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the next thing for us was, you know, we went from, okay, business can be used for generosity in private.
Yes.
We can take business and say, okay, we're going to instill values into it, and say this is how we're going to define it. And I feel like the last 5 years has been, what if we built business for the sole purpose of giving it away? What would that look like? And so the last 4 to 5 years, what we've done is really through the grace and favor of God. We consistently are asking God, okay, what's next? What do we build next? Who do we partner with? And candidly, like, we've had just ridiculous blessing. And I mean, going back to college days, I mean, I'm the religion major that went to the training school.
And working among the poor, right?
Yeah.
That your heart's always been for the poor.
Yeah.
And that's where you started, right?
And
I just want to pause here before we, because I know we're shifting gears here into the blessing side and the way that God's blessed you to be a blessing. But I just want to go back to the roots of our lives are we find Jesus, and he often calls us to do something challenging in the early days to test our hearts. And so whether it's working among the poor, working in England, working through difficulties in the business, the early days, it was not all glory. I mean, man, I remember several conversations, prayer times. And so, but without those things, when the blessing comes, it's kind of like if the blessing comes too early, it's hard to hold it. We know many people that have crashed in the business world because of blessing too early. But when you have to go through the trials of life, when the blessing comes, you actually don't cling on to it as tightly because you either found the Lord along the way or you didn't.
Yeah.
And because you guys have, and of course, nobody's perfect. We're all on a journey. We get that. But when the blessing started coming and you guys started to get a vision for what this could look like, take it from here.
Okay, so that triggered a memory. I'm just gonna tell a story.
Yeah. Please, go for it.
So when we're exiting the family business, we're praying as a family every night.
And exiting by you're going to sell it.
We're going to sell it.
Yes.
And literally every meeting, the five of us pray. We have a word from God on what's Dad going to do. The kids just know Dad's working the biggest deal of his life.
Right.
And the very last one, our 5-year-old at the time has a very specific prophetic word that basically leads the final negotiation. Wow. Right. And
this is powerful. You're bringing the family in. You're asking everybody to pray.
Yeah.
The 5-year-old comes with what?
So she says, "Be strong and brave." Yeah. Okay. Right. And I felt like God said, "Read Joshua 1:1-9 to the family," which is the be strong and courageous.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And we had this time where I'm trying to read it. I'm literally bawling after every word because it's talking about the wilderness and deliverance and the freedom of the promised land.
To Joshua.
And I was like, Lindsay, at one point she's like,
"Do you need me to read?" Because the kids are getting a little worried. They've never seen Dad like this, And I
was like, "No, I'm supposed to read this." So I go into this last meeting, and it happens to be the Friday before kids camp.
Okay.
And I'm in the opening skit. I'm like the Darth Vader character or something. And so I go into this high stakes negotiation, and I said, "Hey guys, it's got to be this way." And they, say what they're going to say. And I said, "I'm sorry, in 20 minutes I've got to get off this call because I'm Darth Vader at kids camp."
Way to go, Greg.
And they're like, "But we've got to finish this." And I said, "It's just not that important." Like I had a word from the Lord that Emma Grace gave me. I had a word from the Lord that we got as a family, and I was like, "This is what it's got to be."
You're clear. This is.
I'm going to kids camp.
Wow.
And they said, "If we say yes right now," and I said, "Yeah, send the documents. Let's go." And so I went. Darth Vader got on stage. 3 hours later,
who knew? That Darth Vader had just made the biggest decision of their life.
Yeah.
I love that. I just love that because I've gone from press conferences to coaching on the sidelines of my kids' deal, and nobody knows.
Yeah.
And actually, the kids really don't care that you just did a multi-million-dollar deal.
Yeah.
They will ultimately, but they had no clue. And way to go. I mean, way to be able to say, these are my values. This is actually what got you to this place to sell the business.
Yeah.
Is the values that you carry in God's grace and favor. So what would be different about heading over to kids camp? I love it.
So when we start these other things, like you said, there's this foundation of like, we're just going to hear God. And we didn't set out to build something great or I mean, really take what my dad had built and build on it. Like there wasn't this thing of like, let's accomplish this goal. It's just, let's hear God, do that, and believe that he's going to be there when we obey. And so now we get to, we're building these businesses, and literally the purpose of the business is to fund money into the Rivergate Foundation. And the Rivergate Foundation exists to solve sustainability issues inside the Antioch movement.
Wow.
Specifically, the college education of our workers' kids, acute need as it shows up, and ultimately we want to help with retirement. So that when we're talking to our friends that started in the training school with us, and they're saying, "Hey, I feel like God's calling me to stay, but I don't know how to make ends meet," we get to say, "We're working on that for you." And ultimately, we get to partner with our friends and let them advance the kingdom of God in whatever country, whatever city they're in, and we're using the things that God has candidly blessed us with. Like we really can't take a lot of credit for success that we've had. We get to say, okay, God, if you gave us this, it's got to be for a reason, and so that's got to be. That's the burden you put on our heart. That's got to be the reason. That's, using Rick's analogy, that's our place on the wall.
Yeah. Well, I was so moved the other night when we were at dinner because I had not thought it through, and I'll get a little emotional. This may be your Joshua moment, reading through Joshua. But when Laura and I first started, we sold everything, moved to the inner city, and kind of took this life journey of faith. And as people were added to it, we carry the burden of our people, right? And we can give them deep spiritual help and pastoral help, and we have given financially in every way that we can.
Yeah.
But the whole retirement piece or when there's crisis, we've been actually decent at rallying crisis, but kind of long play as people get older and challenges happen, etc. And as I was with you guys the other night, we were talking about the Rivergate Foundation. I was just taken back to that. If you give up houses and lands and mothers and fathers, God will give back 100-fold. Mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, houses and lands. And I realized, oh my goodness, God, you spoke to the McCanns and you're taking care of our family. And I thought, wow, we took a journey trusting that scripture to be true, to cover us and our kids. But Antioch's a family worldwide, and God's raised up family to take care of family. And it's an above and beyond thing. It just wows me that we can actually lose our lives. And God ultimately will save our lives. And of course he does it through people. He taps people on the shoulder. He puts it all together. But what I love about you guys, so many things, is that I feel so free with you guys, like free to talk about it. So we're not, yes, you guys are doing something incredible for so many people, and just the little bit that's already happened, people are just overwhelmed with grace. But I would just say, because you're obeying God and I'm obeying God, there's no kind of that funky money manipulation thing that happens out there in the push and pull of the world. You guys just make me feel alive, free, full of faith, full of hope, and make me feel like family. And that's how I think this is how it's supposed to go. So maybe again, so many things that we could talk about, but just to end is thank you for obeying Jesus and loving him and loving his people and loving the people that he gave you, which is us. As I've always said to each other, like, hey, whoever wants to stay in the game together, all we've got is each other. We might as well lean in and just go all the way to the end, and until we see Jesus. And just thank you for being marvelous comrades. Thank you for loving Laura and I, but thank you for loving the whole Antioch family. And I just really just stand in awe of the grace of God.
He's the only one that could dream it up.
Yeah.
I mean, the burden and all the things that are taking shape right now, I mean, started when we lived in England. A burden and even a wondering of what will, we thought we'd be there indefinitely, and it was like, how will these things take shape? And as we were dialoguing about how did it really, when did it become solid? And it really has just kind of always been there, this burden, as we, through the years, listened to our friends, who were like wondering, how are we going to do it? Should I, should I come home so that I can pay for my kids to go to college or this and that or whatever? And, really, I mean, I love what you had to say about family, taking care of family, because, I mean, that's exactly it. We couldn't have dreamed this up, and it's so much better than what we could have ever thought or imagined. And I again, our story is just hearing God and obeying the best we can. And it happens to be that this is the thing in front of us.
Yes. Oh,
So thank you.
love it. Love it.
Can we return the thanks? I mean, seriously, like Jimmy, you and Laura, Jeff, Dot, Kevin, Stacy, James, Mark, Maria, all you guys have laid down your lives for all of us, with not enough thanks. And so for us to find a little place on the wall to jump in and be a marvelous comrade, it's an honor.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Amen.